Good morning, Marcelle, to you, your viewers, and your listeners. Absolutely, the tragic and the violent stabbing of the student in CPUT really left many of us shocked, saddened, and absolutely disgusted across the student community, across the country, and it has angered many of our students, while also regrettably also striking fear amongst many of our students, particularly female students across various campuses. So it has really been a devastating time since the surfacing of those videos last night.
You know, what is quite telling is that we are told that this was a private residence, but that both of these people are students, one at CPUT and one at UWC. But again, just bringing home that the lives of students and indeed the campuses and the areas where they make their lives while studying is really just a reflection of an ongoing monster of gender-based violence that society is battling with every single day.
Absolutely, Marcelle. In fact, we often say that institutions are microcosms of society, that they reflect the bigger picture outside. What is even more frightening is that actually in the 2022 police report, it reported that over 10% of all GBV cases in the country were happening at institutions of higher learning. Now, that is very alarming and very scary, Marcelle, when you realize and consider that out of 62 million South Africans in institutions of higher learning, we only have 1.6 million South Africans. It tells you that 10% of all GBV cases in the country are concentrated in just 2% of the population. That is absolutely scary. And that tells you that really the pandemic, the GBV pandemic is concentrated in institutions of higher learning, and which is why in the past, we have called and are carrying on to call that we believe that there should be a specialized police unit to deal with GBV just in institutions of higher learning and the communities around student communities, because numbers are telling us that there is a scary concentration of GBV there. And unless that is done, unfortunately, our students are going to carry on to be murdered. The femicide is going to go on unabated. So we really need aggressive approaches from government to deal with that when you look at the numbers.
What's quite telling as we close this interview, what's quite telling in that video is seeing bystanders slowly edging their way towards this man as he was stabbing this woman to try and stop him. I would assume that part of your message as you visit both CPUT as a union and University of the Western Cape, I believe, tomorrow, would be for students to keep their eyes and ears open for women and those who are vulnerable, who might find themselves in dangerous situations, and to speak up before we get to the point that we see unfold in this video.
Absolutely. Our message is that the fight and the war against GBV is going to take all of us. It is for all students. They must take responsibility for ensuring that we end the scourge of GBV in our campuses. One of the things that we are calling on, which we believe is going to assist, we adopted a GBV policy nationally in 2020. We are calling that policy, it must be adopted across all institutions of higher learning. Why it is important, Marcelle, is because it empowers all students and gives them practical tools to be able to defend themselves and their fellow students against GBV. So we are calling for that to be completely rolled out. You are correct. We will be visiting CPUT and UWC between today and tomorrow, and we will communicate with the country more, or at least further, in terms of the steps that are going to be taken. In the interim, we are calling on Higher Health to ensure that they provide counseling services to students at CPUT and UWC. But if any other student was also affected by looking at those and having seen that video, they can contact us and we will be able to ensure that at least within 24 to 48 hours, we are able to assist with psychosocial support through the support of Higher Health. And yes, and I think it's very, very important that all of us, we take responsibility for this scourge of gender-based violence and femicide in our country.
We're going to leave it there. Such an important conversation. The spokesperson for the SA Union of Students, Asive Dlanjwa, joining us from Bloemfontein, condemning those scenes that we saw unfold in this video where a student at CPUT is seen to be stabbed by a man known to be her partner. We do understand she underwent surgery yesterday. She is in a hospital, and that man has indeed been arrested.